Yet another bomb threat was called into WestJet Airlines last night, so that makes 5 in less than a week. The plane was traveling from Las Vegas to Victoria. WestJet tweeted that the RCMP is proceeding with a criminal mischief investigation. So it leaves you wondering who could be behind these threats, how many people could be involved. With some insight, I'm joined by Gary Clement. He's a former superintendent with the RCMP. He's in Colborne, Ontario. Gary, welcome to the program. I want to just pick your brain for a moment. As a former RCMP superintendent, how would you go about finding who or how many are responsible for these threats?
Well, I think right off the bat, so Hannah, what strikes me is that we're dealing with obviously somebody that has a gripe with the airline. The first place I'd be looking is for a disgruntled employee, because it seems very targeted. It's not targeting the whole airline industry. So it really comes across as either a very unhappy customer and that should be able to narrow that down from any action that's occurred with a disgruntled customer. Same with an employee. You want to look at who's been fired, who's been overlooked for promotion. Those type of things would be the first thing you'd look at here, because that's what it strikes me as what we're dealing with here.
Now, we know, Gary, that one threat was in the form of a note. It was on the aircraft. Have not heard details about the others. But how are threats like this usually, or, you know, and I hate to think it happens usually, but how are they communicated to personnel, and what clues might investigators get from the methodology behind that?
Well, what they're going to be pouring through, and they'll be profiling based on what the messaging is. And we, at this point, we don't know what the exact messaging is. So that would be looked at by a criminal profiler and try and ascertain the makeup of the individuals. It could be done by telephone, very quick telephone call. It could be done by email. And bear in mind that when you say telephone, you can say, well, that should be easy to track. But as you know, you can buy what they call burner phones today. So it isn't as easy as one might think. And as well, using, although you can get IP addresses, there's so many sites today that allow you to appear that you're sending messaging from anywhere in the world. So it's going to take a while to track this down.
You know, I'm sure people at home are thinking of all kinds of scenarios, and here's one of them. Could it be a case of a terrorist group or a terrorist, you know, trying to cry wolf, wear down the system with so many scenarios of threats that an airline could be caught off guard, maybe becoming a little apathetic about the next one or the next one?
I would say in this case, and although we don't have all the facts, from what I see, this does not have the hallmarks at all of anything to do with terrorism. So I don't think the public should be concerned about that. If this was a terrorist event or a terrorist group behind it, believe me, they would be claiming responsibility, because the whole idea about what they want to do, what their psyche is all about, is terrorizing the population. So they would be coming out very strongly saying, look what we can do to the airline industry or this particular airline. So no, this is very focused, very targeted on one airline. Again, I may be proven wrong, but this really looks like either a very unhappy client or customer or a disgruntled employee, and hopefully not a disgruntled employee from another airline.
Right. I also want to ask you about a WestJet statement that was issued early this morning. I'm not sure if you heard about it, but there's a quote that says that WestJet is searching the aircraft and searching the luggage in, quote, an abundance of caution. I would assume there is always an abundance of caution. Am I wrong?
No, absolutely not. In fact, whenever there is any bomb threat, they have a protocol, as do all the other airlines, that have to be followed. And that's exactly what they're doing. And you can guarantee that any airline that gets a threat is going to err on the side of caution each and every time.